Pelosi yesterday gleefully reacting to the controversial Supreme Court ruling, and like the president and members of his administration, the former speaker is refusing to acknowledge, even still, that Obamacare is nothing short of the largest tax increase in American history. And we continue with former Alaska Governor, Fox News contributor Sarah Palin. You know, I listen to Nancy Pelosi, listen to David Axelrod, listen to the White House today. They still cannot acknowledge what this is, which is a tax. Largest tax increase in history. President wants to follow that up with a double whammy, and that is not extending the Bush tax cuts. Politically speaking, how should Congress deal with this, and how should the Romney campaign deal with this, if you were to give advice?
Well, first off, Nancy Pelosi is a dingbat, and she is the perfect spokesperson for this whole agenda of the far left running the Democrat Party. I know a lot of Democrats who are absolutely embarrassed and disgusted with what her and Harry Reid's leadership has provided the Democrat Party, and you know they want to bail out of the Democrat Party because of specifically the things that she says, the things that she does, what it is that she represents. But she's a perfect spokesperson for President Obama's Democrat Party. But what the Republican Party should do, what constitutional conservatives should do, is point out exactly what you're pointing out, is we're going to be hit with a double whammy here with this uncertainty of Obamacare that's going to be a job killer. It's the mother of all unfunded mandates. You combine that with the Bush tax cuts that will expire soon, and more of people's hard-earned dollars will be taken from them to grow government, to allow government to intrude on our commercial and private lives. Now, most Americans, I believe, don't want that, but about the 50% of Americans who aren't paying taxes and they're feeding from President Obama's hands, perhaps they will vote for such a tool. But the rest of Americans need to stand up and say no more. We want our economic freedoms. We want our opportunities for jobs, and we're not going to put up with this. And that's why we need a Congress who understands how the private sector works and what it is that the private sector needs. What
do you make of the Attorney General in the Fast and Furious case? And he's been stonewalling now for over 18 months. This is not only ill-conceived. To give guns and weapons to drug cartels, kidnappers, murderers, drug dealers is insanity. He claimed today, the Attorney General, that, oh, no, Bush had implemented this. That's not true.
No.
That is an absolute lie. Just like when he said, well, the truth is evolving. You know, yeah. I mean, it makes Clinton look like, you know, the most honest guy in America when he says that. How big an impact does this have on the race?
This is more Orwellian speak coming from our Department of Justice, and it's a scary place for America to be, to have an Attorney General who is so deceptive, and this entire administration being probably the least transparent administration, I believe, in America's history. So I'm thankful that Congress, that the House of Representatives took the vote that they did to kind of open the door to allow Americans to understand that he is Attorney General Holder is in contempt of Congress. They're asking for information, and he refuses to provide it. Now, as for those congressmen and women who walked out on Brian Terry's family and the American public, literally, physically walking out and not participating in the vote, I think that they, too, should be reprimanded via being voted out of office by their constituents. And they sent a message that it is the most disrespectful thing that they could have done to turn their back on Brian Terry's family and the American public.
All right, you said to me that Colonel Allen West would be maybe one of your top picks for VP. All right, give me 2 or 3 other names that you like.
Oh, my goodness. I like people who aren't necessarily involved in politics, are kind of on the periphery. Smart people, like we brought up Mark Levin's name, Thomas Sowell.
Could you imagine Mark Levin? Maybe Secretary of Defense, I don't know.
He'd be kicking butt and taking names,
yeah,
and that's exactly what we need right now, Sean. We need people who are going to engage in relentless reform, sudden and relentless reform. We can't just manage the decline that President Obama has created for America. We need to turn things around, so we need characters in there who are bold and will defend our republic and do the right thing for the people, putting government back on the side of the people.
All right, Governor, it's always good to see you, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And coming up, millions around